All right. This is the ESPC podcast, and every single podcast is a business meeting with a specific purpose and a specific outcome. Podcast. So every single podcast, I don't know. I can't even pay for help. Business. So meeting. I always have an issue with the and a back fee, but then I fix it. So fuck it. You know what? People don't want to make money. People want to complain about inflation. People want to live with their parents, not be responsible for their own money. Then this is not a podcast for them. If somebody doesn't want to be independent, doesn't want to pay their own bills, doesn't want to live in abundance and go on vacation and have a good time in life, learning business and financial concepts, this is not a podcast for you. If you're depressed and always losing all the time, this is not the podcast for you. This is a podcast for winners, people who want to win, people who want to live happy, people who do not complain about inflation, people who do not scapegoat, people who do not blame others for their problems, people who take control of their lives so they can be independent, happy, live in abundance, have as much money as possible, have as much independence as possible, and have as much fun as possible watching football and learning things, right? Tracking things so they're not delusional, not thinking they're smarter than what they really are. And people who hate bullshit, people who hate fakeness, people who hate things that are disingenuous, people who want to keep it real. Podcast is for them. And I'm lucky that I have enough people that feel the same way. And together, we have an amazing system and process that as a culture we cultivate. I have an MBA, securities license, clients net worth $50 million in blood, and we use business and financial concepts in order to make money watching football. So right now we're at 123 wins, 91 losses, 54.7%, $25,850 won. Okay. 52.5% is break even. 59% you can live in Vegas betting. 70% you're elite. You want to get to elite. I've knocked a lot of stressors out. So let's get to it. Let's get to making a lot of money watching football yesterday at college. It was amazing. We're at close to 65 again in college. But we want to get the NFL on par with college, finishing in the 60s, because it's a challenge, right? The NFL is hard. All right. So, first game we're going to look at, it's going to be your Minnesota Vikings. Something about Minnesota I'll share with you real quick. The Minnesota Vikings are the top team in the NFL stopping the run. Let's look at some NFL statistics. You go, Minnesota's only giving up 24.4 yards a game running the football. So basically, it used to be, and I think it is. So if you live in a pass, you die in a pass. So you got to ask yourself, things that used to be big, you know, are they big now? Are they relevant now? And it used to be if you're able to stop the run and be able to run, you were doing good. So we're using that method to bet a lot of games this year, and it's working out for us. It's working out for us in a big way. It's working out for us in a way where we're making $25,000. So let's look for these Vikings. There you go. The Vikings against the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears have 4 wins. Remember, every single team in the NFL has 4 built-in wins. They fired the coordinator. Not his fault. Kevin Williams not doing really anything, right? They let him go in between the 20s playing zone. All he has to do is look at DJ Moore going across, boom, hit him. Remember, in zone, the receivers go across. And man, the receivers run vertical routes. So everybody's playing zone these days. So it's hitting, but then when you get into the red zone, right? It's bend but don't break. Can that team score? And Chicago's proven they haven't scored. So in that game, we're going to go with the Vikings minus, I got 3.5. So I'm blessed to get 3.5. All the way up to 5 now. I still would take him. So you got the Vikings under 39.5. Vikings under 39.5. Next game I'm going to look at is the Texans. The Texans versus the Titans. The Titans are tanking. One of the things that upsets me about the NFL is nepotism. A lot of nepotism because it creates, well, in a way, it's good because nepotism in the NFL helps me with my insomnia because it's the same people doing the same thing for decades. The Callahan family loves to run football. They love to run football. When Daddy Callahan, offensive coordinator for the Raiders, then he became head coach of the Raiders. Then he was head coach of Nebraska. His quarterback was Zach Taylor, the current head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, where is Bill Callahan? He's the I think offensive coordinator dash line offensive line coach for your Titans. And who's the head coach? His son, Brian Callahan. So it's the same thing, same schemes, same ideas, same things they say after a practice. They say the same things in training camp, same. But positive side is that we can get ahead of it and monetize it and pay bills, go on vacation, and buy ridiculous things, getting a hand, just studying the Callahans and noticing that they're not going to change. Why should they change? They're making millions of dollars. People do not change unless they are forced to change. They're forced to make, really, it's a connection between synapses. One synapse is here, the other one synapse is there, and there's energy going between the two synapses, and there has to be a strong connection. I digress, right? You're here, you get picks to make money. I've been late on the podcast because some crazy shit has been going down. Uh, Almost died. I had major business things to attend to. However, I've still gotten the podcast at least a few hours before the start of the NFL games. I'll get back to my regular schedule Wednesdays. By Wednesday, it's having the podcast out. But the loyal listeners who want to make money, who trust the picks, but even though they trust the picks, they make their own picks and then they give me feedback. So I appreciate that immensely, right? Because life in sports betting is a collaborative effort between human beings. Sometimes strangers, sometimes people that only talk only about football, but they share information. I mean, it's not like trade secrets in the corporate world where people just keep information amongst themselves and fuck everyone else. In sports betting, we're all just human. We all just understand we're regular men and women, right? And we share information amongst each other. Okay. So to that end, bet the Texans -7 under 41 because of the Callahan family doing the same things at the same time. And we get ahead of them. They're tanking this year. All they want to do is establish the running game. Yeah. Will Levis sucked to Kentucky, and now he sucks in the NFL. But good for him. He has some sort of connection, some sort of mafia, some sort of thing going on where they're giving him millions and millions of dollars to suck. God bless. We can't suck, right? And that's the beauty of it. We only get paid by getting the picks right consistent, or else we don't make any money. That's another beauty of it. Gets your mind on that level of, like I mentioned in the beginning of the podcast, independence. All right. Panthers +11, over 43 against the Chiefs. The Chiefs, Andy Reid, when he has a big lead, he sits on the lead. And one thing to notice about the Chiefs, if I have it up here, I might. Oh, Kansas City It is up here. Let's take a look at this. Kansas City has been good, right, at stopping you run. They're number three. But the opposite is true about them running. They haven't been able to run the football well this year. They haven't had to. They're 10-1. But something to watch in the playoffs. It's something to watch in the fact that they cannot cover spread. So the fact that they're low in the league and being able to run the football means they're not holding on to leads. Not that they're going to lose this game. They're just not going to cover the 11 points. And I like that game to be over the 43 because of that. The Titans might want to score late in the game behind. They scored last. They haven't been scoring much in the second half, but they did score in the second half last week, and I think they'll be start scoring in the second half. So they do not make their tanking so obvious. Next game we're looking at is how about them boys? How about them Cowboys? They're tanking. They're trying to get better draft picks so they can get better guys on the offensive line. They look for them though. Traditionally, double-digit dogs in the division cover 80% of the time. You would not bet them blindly. However, Dallas has been so horrible. They're, almost last against the run, almost last running. They've been so horrible this year that almost you can throw all the statistics out the window. However, in this situation, against a rookie quarterback, against Kingsbury, who does horrible in the second half of the season, he's doing horrible again. We've been monetizing it. They're going to go with the boys plus 11, under 46. The Patriots going to the Heat in Miami. Again, the second half line in Florida has cashed 100% for me this year, meaning that the heat, the humidity gets to people with helmets and uniforms on, and they can't function, and they get beat by the Florida teams. So this is going to happen again. So look for Miami to cover the 7 points over 46. And if it makes sense, you see Miami either tied or Miami with not more than a 7-point lead, double up, bet Miami Dolphins in the second half line. The Detroit Lions have been covering every year. Just got a message from somebody who knows the Detroit Lions well. He says Dan Campbell is turning to Tom Osborne. He's blowing everybody out. All the games are going over. To that end, let's monetize that. Let's go with the Lions. Minus 7.5, over 51. The Ants, the New York Ants, coming off a bye, going against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Look for the Giants to cover the 6, and it's going to be over 40 points. Remember, we use business and financial concepts. Same way you invest in a stock. Same way you invest in a business. Same way you pick the game. So I use all that methodology to give you the answer. Giants plus 6, over 40 points. I love the offensive coordinator for Tampa Bay, Mr. Cohn. He, trained with McVay, the Rams. Then he went to Kentucky, got Will Levis in the NFL. And the Kentucky offense has not been as good as when Cohen was there. And then after he was left, that Kentucky offense hasn't been good at all. So that guy's a good offensive coordinator. He knows how to do more with less. The Denver Broncos, minus 6, over 41. This pick I got from a trusted source. So the thing about sports betting is that no man's an island. No man is the ultimate genius. No man is a soothsayer. No man has a crystal ball. No man is a psychic. Because if he is a psychic, he's Nostradamus, he can predict the future, they will predict lottery numbers 24/7 Powerball, right? Nobody can. So what you do is you pick experts. I got my expert who knows Detroit. I got my expert who knows the NFL. He gives me one pick a week. And the pick he gave me this week was the Broncos minus 6 over the 41. Doesn't mean I don't study the game, but I study the game with less pressure. The Raiders are tanking. The Raiders suck. The Raiders are depleted. Antonio Pierce doesn't seem to be able to really coach. He's not doing the X's and O's. Let's Joe Philman and some other guys. He's trying to motivate through fear. So you're motivating through fear to guys who already have $1 million, millions and millions of dollars in the bank. They don't care what you say. You got to motivate him in a different way. He doesn't know how to do it. So give me the Broncos -6 over 41. Go Pack, go. The 49ers are not. If you live in the past, you will die in the past. People bet blindly the 49ers. I'm lucky I got the Packers at 2.5 over 45. Shanahan on the floor. Three big football mafias: the Bill Parcells, Bill Belichick, Nick Saban mafia, the Andy Reid, the Mike Holmgren, the Mike Shanahan football mafia with the McVays, with Gruden, right? This is a game between them. They like offense, and that means the game's going over. Right now, Green Bay's at 5.5. I would take that still. The 49ers have hurt. They got major injuries. A lot of these teams work in 2-year cycles. So the 49ers made the Super Bowl last year. Usually the next year, they kind of regroup, and that's what they're doing. So in that vein, it's not idle information. We're using that information, right, to build on the $25,000 we already made watching football. So pick the Packers -6.5 over the 45, right? Nobody's ever gotten rich using technical analysis. We use fundamental analysis. I'm gonna make sure they're in the episode notes. I'll make sure I put in an attachment in the top 10 rules of betting. Make sure you know the difference between technical analysis, which nobody's gotten rich, but on CNBC, who just got spun off, and on Bloomberg, they sell technical analysis. People have gotten rich fundamental analysis. So fundamental analysis, one of the main tenets of it, one of the main processes of it, one of the main strategies used in fundamental analysis is studying the ownership, studying who's calling the shot, who's the Elon Musk in the situation. And what did Elon Musk say? He said, you got to get to the truth to be able to anticipate outcomes. Again, you have to get to the truth to anticipate outcomes. And that way, we want to take money. And the way you get to the truth, sports betting is using fundamental analysis. To that end, the Cardinals. Let's look at the Cardinals. Again, analytics is not working football. I have a client blessed with a PhD in math from MIT. All right. She has World Series rings. Consults with the Dodgers. They're not giving her a ring, they give her a lot of money. She won't take any NFL clients because analytics is not working. Key statistics for it. But let me give you a key statistic to pick this game. The Cardinals on the road in the division against the Seahawks. All right. So these are the teams against the run. So the Cardinals, Arizona, the middle of the pack, near the bottom. Right. But worse is Seattle. Best teams against the run. So Seattle's worse than Arizona against stopping the run. Now let's look at who can run. Yeah. Let's look at who can run. Let me pull that up. Actually, we'll look at this. We'll look at the matchup. It'll tell us the same thing. Go to that matchup. Let's go to the Cardinals, all right? Rushing yards. James Conner, you see that? 697. Yards from scrimmage, 944. They can run the football, all right? Kyler Murray is quarterback in his 3 first downs with his legs. That team wins 70% of the time. Now let's look at Seattle. Their running back, Kenneth Walker, 452, 674. So their main running back, all right, rush yards compared to our running back, not even close. So what does that mean for us? You know what that means? That means money. The Arizona Cardinals to pick them, to pick them. And this is a division game. This is the first time they met. So usually the first time these type of teams meet, right? If my computer signs me out, then I sign back in. Problem with all this hacking, everybody wants to hack into your computer. And you have to put a complicated password in. You have to put it in a few times to get everything right. So you do to look for this game to be under the 48. Remember, the average score of an NFL game is 45. 48, first time they're meeting. The rushing advantage that Arizona has, being able to rush at a high level, top in the league, and they can stop the run better than Seattle has to this point. Look for the Cardinals to win this game, and we're a hype team. I think it's a coaching mismatch. The head coach for Arizona has been there now a few years. He was the coordinator when the Philadelphia Eagles went to the Super Bowl. Mike McDaniel is from that Harbaugh football mafia family, right? So remember, you have the Belichick, Satan, Bill Parcells, Coughlin mafia family. You have the Shanahans, Mike Holmgren, John Gruden, Andy Reid mafia family, and then you have the Harbaughs next game or a few games down the road here. So look for the Cardinals, right, from that Andy Reid mafia family to beat the Harbaugh mafia family. Cardinals pick them under 48. Rams from that McVay, Gruden, Shanahan, Mike Holmgren, Gruden, Shanahan mafia family. And I repeat those names on purpose so you understand the nepotism. You understand the reason we can pick all these teams. It's all these people are the same. They all think the same. They all copy each other. They all go on Renaissance voting expeditions to discuss the strategies for the next season. Great. We love it. That's why we can pick so many games. It's just a lot of repetition involved. So look for the Rams, +3, under 49. Look at it from beginning to the end because they're using the same systems. They're both from that Shanahan mafia family. Cicciani, Harry Roseman, McVay, Les Snead. They're all the same. So what's going to happen? They're going to finish in a tie, right? So look for the Rams +3, under 49. And then the battle of the brothers, right? The Ravens against the Chargers. John Harbaugh from the Harbaugh family, mafia family, football mafia family, against Jack Harbaugh was the dad, John Harbaugh's the son, Jim Harbaugh. All their names start with J. That's how much similar they are. That's how much they think alike. Another game is going to finish in a tie, but I think the Raven brother needs to win more, so he's going to give his brother. They're all making millions of dollars, and that's a win because he needs it for momentum for the playoffs. And this is not the year for the Chargers, right? They have the book in the background, the mafia book from the Greek family, Google, Sponge Dot Murders, right? They're all connected to the family, the Spanish family, owner of the Chargers. They're rebuilding first year for Jim Harbaugh. So look for that. Look for the Ravens to cover, and look for that game to be under the total. All right. So when you give one, you get 10 back. I've been giving picks out for free, and it's enormous what I've gotten back. The feedback I've gotten back. People have reported over $1 million made off my picks that come from my head, giving them. And I've gotten information back that I've made a lot of money, like the early rounds of major tennis tournaments. I never would have thought that you can make as much money as a listener, avid listener of the podcast explained to me. And that's a lot of money in my pocket, my family's pocket. So when you give one, you always get 10 back. It's not philanthropy or religion. It's a business proposition. So to that end, as Winston Churchill said, in my opinion, the hero of World War II, fireside chats. He said, you make a living from your labor, but you make your life from what you give. Thank you for listening and sharing, giving me information on the ESPC Podcast Network.